It's another week, another episode of The Upgrade. My name is Gary Muttley. He is...
Len Carmichael, Landmine Studios. What is shaking, bitch?
Oh, lots and lots of shit. Ups and downs, which is kind of the theme of this discussion.
Lefts and rights, BA select starts.
Maybe a little of that, too.
A little Konami code for you?
Yeah, that's always fun. Although it makes me think of Contra, and then I get angry.
Yeah, I fucking loved Contra.
I love Contra, but I hated it. Because that shit is so hard.
I think I could win it right now. If you put it in front of me right now, I think I could whoop that whole game's ass.
Dude, I got the collection because it was on sale on the Xbox store a while ago, and I got the collection of like all the games, and I started playing it, and I got so mad. I was just like, "Fuck!" I had to put it down because I was so angry. Yeah, because I mean it'd been so long since I played it, and then I started to play it, and like I was getting frustrated. I'm like, God damn it! Like I'm so far removed from it that like I gotta get back to that mindset if I can. I don't even know.
So London has been playing Mario Brothers non-fucking stop. Like he doesn't want to hear about anything else. Whoa. Original,
the OG,
all of them. Yeah, the OG,
the POW block and all that shit.
Yep. Through Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario. That's why I asked, because like
the original,
even OG Super Mario Brothers is crazy, but like if you want to go OG,
yeah, not that far.
Yeah.
But all the way up through Super Mario like Maker or whatever, he's been building his own courses and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like he's knee deep in the fucking sauce right now, and it's been fun to watch because like 8 weeks ago he couldn't play video games at all, and now he's just wandering around the house with a fucking Nintendo Switch in his hand, just playing nonstop, taking it in the car. And I'm like, yo, dude, there's other things to do in life other than video games. He's like, basically, no, there isn't.
Yo, can I really fuck up your life right now?
What's up?
Have you ever seen not the NES, the Lego NES, but have you seen the Mario Lego set?
Yeah, he's got all of it already. He's already built it.
Oh, so your life is already fucked up.
Yeah. He built like the whole thing.
Yeah, because they have the expansion sets and shit.
Yeah, he begged for every expansion set known to man.
Yo, I've seen that thing, and like I'm tempted myself because I'm a 47-year-old nerd.
That's fine. But my problem is that he's not as good as you would be with keeping track of everything. So he builds it, breaks it down, and the pieces are everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I'm
anal.
I'm like I would do that, or like the NES would be great, but like I mean, I'm on a whole other Lego kick right now. Like I just got the Statue of Liberty one. It's like almost 2 feet tall. I just finished that, and like I just pre-ordered a couple because they put out a bunch. There were Star Wars helmets. There were a couple of Star Wars helmets, and there was also an Iron Man helmet. I got all those.
Right.
And they just announced a new set of helmets. There's like a Darth Vader helmet, another Stormtrooper helmet. I forget which one. It might have been a Snowtrooper. And a probe droid from Star Wars, and also a Batman helmet. So I pre-ordered all of those because I was like, fuck, I gotta get those.
Right.
Because I have them all on a shelf in my living room. So like I bought a second shelf so that I could put it up, and like I'm just going fucking stupid with all that shit because I have a couple of those city ones also. But I only get cities that I've been to. So I've got London, Tokyo, obviously New York, and Paris.
I tried to get him into doing the cities one, but he's not feeling it yet.
Yeah, it's a little different. The architecture ones in general are a little different. I don't see kids really being into them as much, but they're also super expensive. I find ways to catch them for cheap. Because paying full price for the architecture ones, I'm not doing. Because they're not that big.
Yeah, they're reasonable.
But like, I'm not paying $90 for that shit. No.
No way.
So I get them. I find ways on. I find them on eBay or whatever other sites for cheaper, and get them and go with that. So one of the things that happens with this show sometimes is we start having conversations and don't hit record, so suddenly we're talking about shit and
we're knee deep in the sauce.
Yeah, and then like, oh shit, we didn't start recording yet because we just like to fucking yap because that's why we have a podcast. So we will join this conversation already in progress.
Dun, 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 dun.
One at least partially.
Okay, and she was outside of Princeton, so she was either on 27 or on Route 1.
Well, put it this way. Is there a U-Haul storage place somewhere nearby that you know of?
U-Haul storage. It's literally, there's one right on Route 1.
It might be that one.
But it's like, it's really more in South Brunswick than in Princeton. Storage. Near Princeton.
Yeah, it was an outdoor storage place with the sheds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably Heightstown.
Oh, it was over on that side?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Because did they right near there? Did they used to do like a haunted house thing?
Yeah, I mean there was stuff all over, but if you were there was a couple
used to
over there.
Work at one of those haunted house things.
Like
I think it was Heightstown.
It was like a haunted house and hayride, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She used to work for one of those.
Yeah, so that's 130. So yeah, there are two diners, and one of them is definitely closed. It's on 130.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely Heightstown because as I'm looking at it, it's starting to come back to me that she used to live in Heightstown.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where Pat basically grew up, was right around Heightstown. So I used to be over there somewhat, but there was a movie theater in a parking lot where the TGI Friday is, and that I think that movie theater is now dead,
right?
Like, super dead. And just down the block from that, there was the Americana Diner, which is now the Americana Restaurant, and then just past that was another diner that has opened and closed 1,000 times.
Okay, Americana Diner sounds familiar, but I'd have to.
It closed and then
I'd
it
have
reopened.
to look at it. If I looked at it, I'd probably recognize it. But I'm looking just at a map, and I'm pretty sure that U-Haul right there.
Yeah, it's like right around
in
there, right?
Heightstown. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead stuff over there.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Definitely it, and that's off Route 33.
Okay, yeah, the 130 and 33 meet up at some point.
Yeah, because the haunted trail thing that she used to do was right around there.
Makes sense. Yeah, the place was called, well, it wasn't called it originally, but most recently was called Starplex Cinemas.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And that's on 130 in Heightstown, and it was not a Lowe's. It was one of the other ones. Regal. It was probably a Regal.
Yeah.
And they backed out years ago, and then Starplex took over, and so the last movie I saw there that I actually went there to see was the first Rambo reboot.
Okay.
So, wow, what was that, 2006?
Something like that. And Regal's closed a lot, because there's a Regal up by my mother in Nanuet that is still closed, because we were actually there. We went by there over the weekend, and I was wondering if the Regal had opened, because the AMC that's over in the other mall had reopened, because that's where we went. I told you we saw the Unholy and Kong Godzilla. But the Regal, it's in the next town over in Nanuet, apparently still has not reopened.
Yeah. The only movie theater around here that I know is definitely open is at the Princeton Market Fair on Route 1.
Yeah.
They have like the stadium seating with the recliners and like the high-end service of watching the movie and eating food and drinks and whatever. That's the only movie theater that's open. Otherwise, I don't know any other ones that I can actually go to. Maybe one over in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because you're close enough that you can just cross over.
Yeah, just jump the river.
I remember going down there with her, and she was pointing out like there was a Kmart that closed, and there was
that's all on 130.
Yeah, another thing that closed. I forget what else.
All of it, everything over there closed.
Yeah,
the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy because she was pointing it out and like, oh, there too, and like everything was just.
Dude, over on that stretch of 130, like around Heightstown, was like car dealerships, like tons of restaurants. There was a bowling alley. It was a lot of shit over there, and most of it is gone now.
You know what else I remember? Just in like around that time they were building it, and then one time we went down there and it was finally done. It was like 2 years later. They were building some large overpass. Yeah,
it's done. Long done.
Yeah, we went down there, but like
it's the 33 130. 133 is the number of the thing that you're talking about, and it basically takes you from the turnpike to Princeton.
Okay, because I remember the first couple of times we went down there, they were in the process of building it, and then we went down there one more time later on, and it was all finally done.
Yeah, I just actually drove over that like over the weekend. Yeah. I drove up to North Jersey, and I went to what's it called? Jose Tejas. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
I think you've mentioned it before.
It was fucking delicious. Yeah. But went up to Jose Tejas for dinner, and then from there I actually took a ride down Route 9 because I wanted to see Amboy Cinemas, which should probably be torn down, but I just want to put my eyes on it one more time because it's been closed for years. But on YouTube, one of the adventurers that I watch actually went inside and did a video in there. I'm going to link you to the video. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but it's...
And by the way, the Americana is the diner that I'm thinking of. As I look at it, we went there once.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put them on blast. The people that work there are kind of assholes. So I don't try to give them my money.
She wasn't crazy about it, but we were hungry.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason to go there.
And it wasn't terrible, but it was overpriced. But like I said, we already went in there knowing it's probably going to be overpriced and or not good.
Yeah. All right, found it. Cool. Let me grab this fucking link.
Yeah, I remember the other diner too, the Town Diner.
Yeah, the Town Diner is the one that keeps changing, goes in and out. I mean, that literally the Town Diner has been probably 7 or 8 different diners in the time that I've lived. I
think it may have been closed when we were down there.
It probably was.
Yeah, that's why we didn't.
It's like grand opening, grand closing.
But yeah, I remember that whole strip as I look at this, like the Dollar Tree and all that other shit. But yeah, hopefully.
All right, let's put it this way:
miserable or dead, good riddance.
That whole spot. There used to be like a Dunkin' Donuts and a Taco Bell like right next to each other, and both of them went out of business at one point.
That's bad.
It's bad when a Dunkin' Donuts goes out.
Dunkin' goes out? Oh.
I mean, it might be reopened now, but at one point it was out.
It seems the Taco Bell is reopened.
But the whole area is wild.
Yeah, super unstable, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Hey, not my problem.
Yep, there it is, the Taco Bell.
Gretch from Swashbuckle actually works at the Target that's like within spitting distance of that spot, which is also kind of a dead shopping center. It's like full of just nonsense stores instead of the high class shit that they thought they were going to put in. And in the parking lot, I think was like a Ruby Tuesdays, which I'm pretty sure is also gone out.
Yeah, who knows? But funny thing is,
maybe it was a Fridays. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've been over there. Oh, the restaurant was called Charlie Brown's, old school Charlie Brown's.
Oh God!
And
Charlie Brown's.
The fucking sign is still on this goddamn building, and they ain't been opening. It's in that shopping center with the Target that Gretch works at. This is ridiculous.
That's Charlie Brown's the one on near 130.
Yeah, it's near 130. The picture here was taken August 2017. That was the last update from what's his name, and it looks open in 2017, but I can't imagine that they're open now.
We used to have a lot of Charlie Browns around here. And, well, not a lot, a few, but they all...
Yep. Let me just tell you, Charlie
Bye.
Brown's is fucking disgusting.
I think I only went once, maybe twice. I don't even remember.
Well, there used to be one outside of Princeton over, like, on a different road, 27, and it's actually a road that drives straight
there
down.
It is. I see the Charlie Browns.
Yeah. And we would order from there from work, and someone would drive up and get it, and every time I was just super disappointed. And then I just stopped saying yes.
I think I went there once, and there was one in Yonkers. I went there once, and that was it. And I don't remember it being any good at all.
It wasn't, I'm sure.
But it was there forever. I just never went there. I mean, it was there from when I was a kid. So if my parents never took me there, there's probably a good reason.
Good reason why.
We always went to Nathan's instead, but that was because Nathan's had the arcade. So eat some fucking hot dogs and then go play video games for like 5 hours.
Vid games.
I lived in that place. They tore it down. I kind of cried, but it was more for the memory because they had gone to shit years before. Like they changed everything to like ticket games.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, so it was like whack. Like when I was a kid, like that was the spot. I played Punch Out there. I played fucking Blades of Steel. Played a lot of pinball there, and then suddenly like half the room was ticket games. The last time I went, I was like, "Oh, this fucking sucks."
This.
Fuck you. It was ticket games and like whack games.
So, I'm about to toss you another link real quick.
Yeah.
So I sent you the link to that abandoned movie theater.
Yeah, I'm gonna save this for later.
And if you click that link that I just dropped for you, it should, if you're on your computer, should take you to a picture of the place that they're actually.
Yep. Amboy, I remember passing by this place.
Yeah, if you ever went to Club Chrome or were on 9/35, you would see this place. And like it's been closed since 2000. I think they said 2006.
Yeah, I definitely remember passing by it. I only went to Chrome once, maybe twice.
Oh, you're missing out.
I don't even remember who I saw there. Maybe Madball? I can't remember. But I definitely remember passing this place because dude, I told you, I love movie theaters, so I'm a movie theater nerd. Like, I could tell you...
Well, what about the one on fucking the Turnpike that you can see if you're, like, it's kind of by where...
the one up north?
Yeah, the one you would see if you got off, like, right around the time of going over to Jersey City. So I guess that's, like, exit 15E.
Oh,
so
yeah, I know
there's
which
one off to the left,
about.
And it kind of looks like the same setup.
Yeah, because it's probably the same company. Like it looks like it's probably a Lowe's.
It was originally a Lowe's, and then it turned into the Amboy Cinemas turned into Amboy Cinemas when Lowe's backed out, and then the other one in North Jersey was, I guess, the same concept. And I always wanted to go. I like going to the movies. I do. I really do like going to the movies. My problem is time. I never have the time to go to the movies, but I always wanted to go to both of these cinemas because, like, the entrances of them back in the day when you would see them and they were open, they looked really nice because of all the glass windows and it was all brightly lit, etc. So I always wanted to go to them just because they're kind of like off the beaten path for me. I just never got to it.
Well, there's a movie theater site that I go to that has information about old theaters. And I just pulled it up on there. It was closed on May 28th, 2005 due to a sinking ceiling.
That sounds about right.
And the funny thing is, right, like maybe 5-10 minutes away from me here in the Bronx, there's what used to be the Whitestone multiplex, which closed years ago, and they were going to turn it into an outlet mall, and then that deal fell through, so it's still sitting there empty. But I'm pretty sure, because that was a Lowe's, I think, and it was the exact same deal as the Amboy, because not only does it look similar, but the Amboy was built on what was a drive-in, just like the Whitestone was.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at this here, and it says, built on the site of the Amboy's drive-in.
Yo, hit me with that link. So I have it for later.
Yeah. It's cinematreasures.org. It's a cool site. There's a lot of stuff on there about a lot of older and long gone movie theaters.
Do they have anything on there about the Lawrenceville drive-in?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second.
Because
if you look, they have, if you click the main picture, they have a lot of old pictures of of the inside of the theater.
Oh, well, I'll tell you,
actually,
when you watch these fucking videos, you're going to see that it's the same goddamn inside.
One of the guys that does those videos took some of these pictures, probably, because some of these say, I found this while I visited the Amboy Cinemas during my Urbex trip in 2016, and I scanned it. So they found a bunch of pictures inside, or slides, actually. They say they're slides.
If you look at the last comment, it says, my favorite urban explorers, the proper people, posted a video tour on YouTube yesterday.
There you go.
And that's the one that I just linked you to.
Yeah, and that was just posted 9 days ago.
Yep.
That comment. So, yeah, because there's look, Cinema's floor is sinking. An article from the Central New Jersey Home News that's in those comments also. And that's why they closed. That's wild.
Sinking floor. That's not good. Yeah, they don't have anything in Lawrenceville or Lawrence, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah. There was a drive-in theater. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up a picture of where it was, because you'll be able to tell what I'm fucking talking about when I show you this picture.
It was in Lawrenceville?
Yeah.
They probably have it in a different town or something. Let's see.
So,
because they have shit for theaters that nobody knows about. Like,
I've seen pictures elsewhere of this, but hold on, I'm just trying to. I put my marker down in the wrong spot. I gotta slide.
What was it called?
The Lawrenceville Drive-In or some shit like that.
Did they replace it with something else?
Yeah, a fucking 55 plus community.
Oh, didn't they? They did the same thing with Birch Hill.
Yep. I drove by Birch Hill just the other day.
That's some wild shit.
So that link right there will take you to another map picture type deal. And if you can imagine where that fence was the driveway to get in to the Lawrenceville Drive.
Oh, wow.
Drive-in.
That's
so
crazy.
Along the tree line on the left, there was a big marquee, and they didn't tear it down until about 7 years ago. So even once the 55 plus community was there, you could still see where the drive-in existed.
That's crazy. There's another place like that I went to when I was really small in Elmsford, New York, which is probably about 20 minutes north of where I am, right before you go over the Tappan Zee Bridge. Right. And now...
here it is. On Cinema Treasures, I don't know why... Oh, it's under Trenton, New Jersey.
That's what I was wondering. That if they had it listed in a different place.
Yeah, here's the link.
Because they got everything. So I figured there has to be something there. Yep, there it is.
So you'll see that, as I said, that tree line is exactly where it would have been. And I remember as a kid, like, they closed this as when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when the last showing was, but it's set vacant for super, super long.
Since you like shit like this, I'll tell you a site that'll really bug you out.
Okay.
It's called historicaerials.com.
I've actually seen some of those.
They have like satellite photos and like overhead photos going back in some areas to like the 50s. So like if you go to a site like what I was talking about with Whitestone, or we were talking about with Amboy, if you go to that site, you'll see the movie theater, but as you work your way back, then you'll see the drive-in. Because I've done that with the ones in the Bronx and in Elmsford. Because the one in Elmsford...
You can go back like in time?
Yeah. Yeah, it has a drop-down on the side where you can go and go to different... let me see. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Yeah, like if you go look...
Yeah, it has the actual address of the Lawrence Drive-In, so let's plug that in.
Wait, link me to where you're at?
I will in a second. I don't think I can actually share this location on there, but I'll send you the general link, and then you just got to plug the address in.
All right.
But I got the address in.
Let me grab this address.
If you go to aerials,
Hold
it'll
on.
give you
Address, go. Alright, I can see generally what's there. And then, wait, aerial, where you go? Aerials?
Go to aerials on the left.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow, you
see
can
the
go way
years?
back.
Yeah, like go back to 63.
I'm gonna go to 1970.
Okay.
Yeah, you could fucking
There
see
it
the
is.
goddamn movie theater, dude. There
Yep.
it is. Bam.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. So 2006, if you go to 2006, I think that's when the houses started popping in. Yeah, there's a whole, it's not a full aerial at that point.
Yeah, they don't always have aerials for every area. Because 2002, you could still see the footprint of the drive-in.
Right, but they were clearing it, right?
2006, you could see they're clearing it, but they don't have full shot.
Right. But in 80,
although you could see them,
80,
you could see them starting to build the circle in 2006.
Yep. 95. I would assume that 95 it was closed because I would have gone otherwise, and it looks pretty fucking dank back there, like that it was overgrown. I would assume that it closed in, like, if I had to guess, 1988, 89, something like that.
Right.
At a point where I wasn't driving and none of my friends were driving, but also my mom wouldn't just drive me there.
Well, it doesn't say when it actually closed.
No, not on the Cinema Treasures.
Yeah,
I can't.
I'm looking in the comments to see if anybody said no. Nobody has an actual closing date.
I could probably. Let me take back. What day did the Lawrence
60s? Yeah, doesn't say.
Yeah, doesn't say at all. Weird. It's dumb.
Well, if you look through the pictures, they showed the Slumber Party Massacre there. So it was operating at least until 82. But you said you went there.
I know for a fact that it was closed by the time like 88 happened.
Okay, so somewhere between 82 and 88. But yeah,
I would have loved to see the fucking Slumber Party Massacre there. That was probably a fucking wild time.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, that historic aerial site, man, you'll get lost in that motherfucker. Because yeah, you go back to 31, that's drive-in. 1940, empty space, 47. Yeah, between 47 and 53.
This is when they opened that.
You see it pop up.
Nobody cares. It's so weird to me that nobody cares about some of this shit.
Oh, no. Well, look, plug this address in that I'm going to send you.
Well, if you go back to 31, there's not even, like, Route 1 exists, I guess, because, like, you can see that it says US 1, but it looks like a dirt fucking road, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, and then, because most of the neighborhood isn't even there. I mean, there's a couple tracks of people living places, but overall, it's pretty not.
Oh, dude, if you go, because let me tell you, I have gotten lost in that shit, man. Like, even looking around in New York City, it's crazy because
when we go to my address, I just want to see my address in which name? I'm not gonna say it out loud, but
because my neighborhood's not that bad because my neighborhood was built, a little bit of crazy New York City history for you. My neighborhood, Morris Park in the Bronx, was originally a racetrack.
Okay. And
in the 20s or early 30s, I forget.
Is that your address right now, the one you dropped in?
No.
What's that?
The address I sent you is actually where the Whitestone movie theater.
Oh, the movie theater is. Okay.
It's.
So does the building still exist? Oh yeah, it looks like I could see it right there.
The building is still there.
Dude,
it's
bro, I
empty.
can see it. It's the exact same fucking design as the one that we were talking about.
Right.
Like exact same fucking
But
design.
then take that and go back and you'll see the drive-in.
Right.
Into the 80s even, because they built.
What about in 94? Yeah, you can see that they built it by then in 94.
Oh, it was definitely done by it was built.
Okay, I can see it
in the late 80s, I think.
I can see it.
I was in high school, I think.
I mean, 1980, I can see it. There's that fucking. Okay, I got you. And yeah, I mean, that
because I was a young kid when they they first. Yeah,
All right.
there you go. In the early 80s, it was demolished, and the Whitestone Multiplex Cinemas was built and opened in late 84. So it was actually when I was still in grade school. I wasn't in high school yet. But I remember being a kid and my dad driving on 95 that went right by it, and you could look down and you'd see the screens. Because it was two screens that faced each other on opposite sides of the property. So you could see the screen from the highway. So that always bugged me out because you could go and look and see what movie was there. I remember one time seeing, oh, hey, that's Terror Train.
Yeah, looking at this is fucking weird, bro. Looking at 1931 in my neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, my house is where my house was is just farmland, bro. It's just a farm. Yeah. The main streets exist, but my street doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't even exist. It's not even there. I just dropped it into you if you want to take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, I'll look at it in a second.
But I would assume by 58, my house is there by, I think.
Yeah, my neighborhood was a racetrack from the late 1800s, and they sold the property to real estate developers. And I think it was in the 20s. They broke it all up into lots and sold it all. And that's why now it's all, there's some apartment buildings, but most of it is like smaller 1, 2, 3 family houses.
Right.
That were all built around then. So my neighborhood was just empty, and then all of a sudden everybody built it up all at the same time.
So I can actually, if I go to 1953 and put in the address for my dad's house, I can physically see that his house is one of the only ones on the goddamn block.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's when he bought his house. I mean, he bought it in 53 or 54, and he said it was like, I had basically no neighbors here. It was just nothing.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I said, New York City was already kind of built up, but then I go and I look up by where my mother is in Nyack, and like look at where the Palisades Mall and the other malls and all the strip malls and shit are. It's all just big, fat, empty space. No roads, no nothing. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
I get lost.
I could be lost in here for a long time.
Yeah, I get lost in this shit easy.
So in 63, at the end of my dad's driveway, not driveway, but street, there's like a pool. There's like a community center with a pool.
Yeah.
And my sister is 16 years older than me. They didn't put that community center in till sometime between, like, around the time I was born. So that pool is the age of me, because it's not there in 71, but it is there in 79.
Yeah.
So somewhere between 71 and 79, they built the community center in on my street. I thought it had been there forever, but apparently it showed up right around my lifetime.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
See my dad's fucking porch from here.
Yeah, I love looking at shit like the stadiums also.
Oh yeah, that's probably awesome.
Like if you go to Yankee Stadium, you could see when they start building the new stadium, and then you could see where the old stadium was, and the same for what was Shea Stadium in Queens, which they built Citi Field in what was the parking lot.
Yep.
And where Shea was is now the new parking lot. So it's wild shit like that. And then, my World's Fair obsession, which we talked about before. Like, you can look and see the World's Fair. Or, I don't know if I ever talked to you about this. Co-op City in the Bronx? Mm-hmm. That used to be an amusement park in the 60s? Did I ever mention that?
No, you didn't tell me that.
There's a whole... You can look on YouTube and find videos about it. I have a book about it. It was called Freedomland. It was developed by a guy that helped develop Disneyland.
Okay.
And he wanted to kind of build a Disneyland of the East, because this was before
Disney World.
Disney World didn't open until the early 70s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when did Disney World open? But, Disney World opened in 71. So this was almost 10 years before.
Right.
So they opened that, and it took a lot of elements of Disneyland but it was all, the whole theme of it was American history. That's why it was called Freedomland. And they had a recreation of the Chicago fire, and they would let kids help like pump the water to put out the fire and all this shit. There's tons of videos on YouTube about it. But here's the fucked up thing. This guy didn't know when he helped develop this thing that the whole thing was designed to fail. Because that whole area where Co-op City is now was a giant swamp.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
And secretly, their plan was proof of concept that they could build something on top of it. And they always had a plan that the thing would fail because there were money deals in the background that fucked them money-wise. Like, the place was always destined to go bankrupt because of these corrupt deals they were making in the background. And their whole plan all along was that would be the proof of concept, and then they could build housing on top of it. So if you go back on historic aerials, you can see, because the park was shaped like the United States. So if you go back on historic aerials, you can actually see the footprint of the park, and then you could see them paving over it, and most of that now is where the Bay Plaza Mall is. But that was their way. They proved that something could last on what was originally swamp.
Right. If you fill it up with enough stuff, you can do it.
Right. And they did that initially for the park, but they blamed it because it opened the year before the World's Fair in Queens. Okay. And they blamed the World's Fair for the business failings, and then it came out later on that
it really had nothing to do with that.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. The whole thing was fucked from the jump. But it was all designed to get that, to prove that land could sustain something so that they could build the housing and make the long-term money on it.
So I just hit you with a address. It's the address to the studio.
Uh-huh.
So you know that there's train tracks right by the studio, right?
Yes.
You noticed that they were there at least?
Mm-hmm.
If you go back far enough, you can actually see the train building that existed there. It actually used to be a train that went to New York City, and you could get on from the train station.
Yeah.
So if you're standing in the studio, or outside of the studio, and you look off to the right where like the Primo Hoagies is, that building used to be the train station. Now let me see
that
if
stuff fascinates me.
Let me see if I can find the news article. Hold on, just give me a second. Ewing.
That kind of shit fascinates me because there's a few. You know, I have the train that's right behind me here, and once upon a time, now it's just Amtrak, but once upon a time there used to be lines that ran over here that stopped right here, like right near me. There's some train buildings that used to be, you know, a couple of them used to be like stations. So it's pretty wild. And there's a bunch of those in Westchester also, like by where Billy Club's old studio was.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty bugged out. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Let's see if I can find this fucking article or the pictures of it, because somebody has it. I know that it's impossible that this, I think it was 1996, if I had to put a number on it.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about with the hoagie spot.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Center fire. Anyhow, since I can't find the pictures, but there was a train station that the people who bought the land acquired when they bought the tract.
Right.
And instead of preserving it as a train station, they actually just built up in and around it. So they built brick buildings around it, and then the centerpiece was still the train station, and they used that as also businesses. But
that's crazy.
The important part is that they did no fire abatement. So apparently there was a spark, and the wood was so old because it was from the late 1800s, early 1900s, because that train station had been there forever, that it went up, and it was like a 10-alarm fire. Every fire company, like, you could see like the smoke and flames for like a mile in any direction, like the flames for like a mile, but the smoke forever. So I'm on the other side of Ewing, and me and Andy are like hanging out, and we're like, yo, what is going on? Because all you can hear is every fire station sending trucks.
Yeah.
So the whole corner of the shopping center burnt to a crisp. Nothing existed except for just cinder block. Like, they lost all the roofs, all the stuff inside, the entire old school train station that could have easily been saved with just a little prior planning, like put in a sprinkler system or something. Could have been saved, and there could be a pure history in this location, and it's gone.
That's wild.
I know that if you go into trains and things, if you go talk to the guy who works there, who owns it, because they have like a model train store. Used to be the train station. If you go talk to him, he's got pictures of it in the back, like right by his bathroom, and he'll let you go take a look at them. And it's just wild. I mean, I saw it happen, and it definitely crosses my mind while I'm at that place. I'm like, yo, this place could go up like a fucking tinderbox, and all my shit in it could go. But that's why I got fucking insurance, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy looking at where the studio is. 1979, behind it was all farm.
All farm, and now it's fucking pig station.
No, it's pig farm.
It's Piccadilly Plaza. But even in like 1970 or 71, the buildings didn't even exist yet. They didn't pop up until the late 70s.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, this parking lot that you see in here, everything about this whole thing is exactly... Oh, you can see it. You can see the train station in the fucking picture from 79. It's in the back corner.
Yeah, I see it.
And basically the way they built it was there was a hallway. You see where in the... So the train station is the back left corner, and there's like kind of a thing that juts out. You could walk... It was like a covered path to that back station.
Okay.
So like you could walk between the buildings to get in to the old train station. There was like actual like stuff in the station. You could go in there. And somebody was living in the attic, and I guess he was smoking or something sparked, or I don't know, whatever, and that shit just exploded.
Smoking rocks.
You never know, bro. You never know. But that little tiny building off to the back corner is still there. Somebody lives in that thing. There's an apartment above it, and the bottom is a garage.
Yeah, I told you I could get lost in shit like this. I have. That's why I know the site so well. Right. Because I just get into that fucking rabbit hole. Same as falling into a YouTube hole. Just different. Or a Reddit hole. Or a Cinema Treasures hole. Or...
You literally ruined, like...
I just made work for you for like the next month.
Yeah, dude. This is just ridiculous.
You're just going to look at all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Well, because I'm looking now, and I can see my mom's house, because she lives like right around the corner.
Yeah.
But if you look... So if you follow... if you're looking at, let's just call it 79, and you follow that road, and you're pulling the screen up, and it goes, and there's like a big right-hand bend in the road, and then you're coming down, there's like a big bowling alley. There basically is a building that would look like a bowling alley. And next to it is an empty field. That's a fucking library.
Wow.
That's where they put the library. But my mom's house is like 3 houses in from there.
Mm-hmm.
But right on the corner across from the bowling alley, you can see that there's a small Stewart's like restaurant, but it's one of the ones where there was like a drive up.
Yeah.
If you look at it now, or even not, like, let's just say 2002, it's all built up because they actually turned the outdoor one to an indoor one. So they built around the outdoor.
Oh, wow.
So if you go inside, you can still see all the posts from the outside version built into the inside version.
I love stupid shit like that. That shit bugs me the fuck out.
Well, if you look back the other direction, if you're looking far enough back, the airport that is there doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like 1970, it's there, but 63, I don't think it's there yet. No, it's still there in 63, but I guess the 50s.
Well,
they just started putting it in.
That's another thing I do all the time. Like I'll go back and look at the airports and like look at how much smaller LaGuardia used to be.
Oh God.
You know? Yeah, 47 it's there already.
31 it's not.
Yeah.
Ain't shit there. But you can still see the Reading, the Philadelphia Reading train line.
Yeah. Yeah. I get lost in stupid shit.
I'm lost
like that.
in here right now. I can't even. I gotta stop. I'm gonna get stuck in.
Because then you're like, oh wait, what about that place?
Yeah.
Or what about that place? And I told you, I do the same shit. Like we talk about Co-op City and Freedomland. Like I'll do it with amusement parks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see how they changed, or before it was even built. Shit
Dude,
like that.
I remember going to fucking Great Adventure as a kid, and I had the place mapped out in my brain. You couldn't get me lost in there. And I've been there in the last couple years, and I'm just like, I don't know where I am right now. You guys changed this whole fucking place. The only thing I can find is the Buccaneer, because they never moved that fucking thing. I can find it, no problem.
Dude, I haven't been to Great Adventure in at least 15 years, and I'm sure I have no idea what's going on. But I think about that all the time because I watch videos about Disney World and shit, and like I used to know Disney World like the back of my hand because my family went for like 10 years straight.
Oh wow, that's big
from
money
like
ballers. Well, I guess it wasn't that expensive back then.
From 1980 to 1990, we went like every summer.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove down every time except for 1 year.
Okay.
Because my dad didn't give a fuck. My dad used to be a cab driver, so he could.
He's just like, I'll just fucking drive all day.
Yeah, because like both my parents, but my mother never drove because my dad was just like, I got this. So we went for like 10 years straight, and like I knew that place upside down and backwards. And now I watch some of these videos and shit, and I'm like, shit, nothing like it was.
Yeah. The only thing you can find is the goddamn castle, because the castle ain't moved.
Yeah. And Universal, forget about it, because I told you a story about when I went to Universal. Didn't I?
I don't think so.
I went the very first year they opened.
Uh-huh.
So it's completely different now anyway, because they built so much around it. But the year that I went, 1990, they opened. And they had these huge moving billboards all around the Orlando area promoting their three big rides, which was Earthquake, Jaws, and King Kong.
I don't think any of those are there now.
I'm getting to that. Because in 1990, we get up to the ticket booth, buy the tickets, and then there's a big sign that says the following rides are not in operation today. Earthquake, Jaws, King Kong. The three rides that they had these moving fucking wild-ass billboards all around the Orlando area, none of them were working.
None of them working. That's fucking dumb.
And it's funny that you mentioned that they're gone now because they had problems with all three of those rides pretty much continuously, and that's why they're not there anymore. Jaws, eventually they paved over completely, and like half of that is like the Harry Potter area. But they actually sued the company. That'll take you down another YouTube rabbit hole because there's videos talking about this. They sued the company that originally developed the ride because the thing was so fucked, the Jaws ride. It was such a mess that it was out half the time, and they sued the company.
Ugh.
They had another company come in and try to fix it up, but even then it still had problems, and that's why eventually they killed it. But it's the one in Japan still works, oddly enough. And the one in California, but the one in Florida was just nothing but problems.
Yeah. Well, it probably had to do with the fucking moisture or like around there.
Yeah, it's part of it. But yeah, all those rides all kind of had problems, and eventually they phased them out. But the King Kong, because I never went back after 1990. So, because here's the other thing. You know what they do to make up for the fact that those three rides are dead?
What?
They give you a ticket for an extra day.
Don't give a fuck about that.
Fuck you gonna do with an extra day?
Nothing to do here.
Well, especially because the place was so small back then. You could now. They've got Universal, and they got Islands of Adventure, and they got the Harry Potter thing, all this other. Now it's huge, and they got a water park too. But back then they were pretty small, so you could cover the place in a day. It's not like it wasn't like Disney that you would need a week, because we would do a week at Disney easy because you had, and that was back then. They had just opened the. It was MGM Studios. Now it's just Hollywood Studios, but that opened at the tail end, like the last couple of times we went. But you have that. But back then, well, now you got Animal Kingdom, all this other shit. Back then, there was Magic Kingdom, there was Epcot, and at the end, Studios, and even that took like a week.
So, you went to Great Adventure a lot as a kid, I would assume.
Oh, sure, class trips, all kinds of shit.
And you went there like I did before Six Flags took over, and it was just Great Adventure.
Probably. I mean, when did that Six Flags move happen? Like, I always remember it being Six Flags, but I wouldn't be surprised if.
When did Six Flags come in?
I'm looking it up now.
History timeline. Six Flags was.
No, it actually went Six Flags before your time or mine, because it was acquired by Six Flags in 1977.
Okay.
So it was always.
So I didn't go
Six Flags for both of us, because I certainly didn't go there. I didn't go there when I was 4 years old.
I definitely thought it was in the 80s. Oh well. Well, either way, it was still wild until like the late 90s. Not late 90s, early 90s. Like, going there was almost as dangerous as going to fucking like Action Park, which is a whole nother situation.
The first time I went there, I was probably 10 or 11 years old.
Okay. Because
I remember, I think the first time I went there, I went on the Sarajevo bobsled ride, which opened in '84.
Yep.
So, and that still exists, but it's now in a different park.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. Where did it end up going?
It is in Six Flags over Texas.
Interesting. And is it still called the Sarajevo?
No.
What's it
is
called?
Now called La Vibora, which is the Viper in Spanish. Oh, wait, no. That's a different one. That was the Sarajevo bobsleds that was in Magic Mountain. So hold on. They linked it wrong.
So let me ask.
I know it ended up somewhere.
Did you ever ride lightning loops?
Oh yes.
I'm of the fucking opinion that though it was dangerous because it was sketchy, it was actually one of the most fun looping roller coasters I ever went on.
Oh yeah, it was cool. The only thing that sucked was climbing the
you had to fucking climb up the whole way.
Yeah, that shit was whack. But other than that, that was cool.
Not unless roller coasters do it backwards. That's my problem.
But listen, let's be real, okay? A lot of things in that place were sketchy as fuck.
Well, yo, did you ever ride the Enterprise?
Oh yeah.
Yo, I'm sorry, but they don't even give you a guide. They're just banking on inertia to keep you in that fucking ride.
Oh, of course. And just to back up for a second, the Sarajevo bobsled ride from Great Adventure is now in the Great Escape, which is a Six Flags park up in Lake George, up north New York, up past Albany, I believe. Which I've been there before, but not in many, many years. I was there when I was a kid. But yeah, it's now just the Alpine bobsled, but that was originally the Sarajevo bobsled in '84 that I rode.
What about the fucking... as a kid, I rode this thing, and as an adult, I don't understand how anyone ever let me get on this. The swing set, that rotating swing set, it was called the Flying Wave. And basically, to ride it, you sat in a wicker basket chair with a metal bar in front of you that just clicked closed with like a shitty 1973 seatbelt thing. You could just pop that open and jump the fuck out.
Well, that was the whole problem. But that was the problem with a lot of those rides, because if you remember, lightning loops
Only had shoulder.
Right, but people were still able to worm their way out of it, and that's why that one person died on it, and that's why they eventually tore the whole thing down.
Yep.
But you had that same problem on other rides too, because here in New York, up north, we got Playland and Rye, and somebody ended up squirming out of God damn it, what's the name of that ride? I forgot. It's just the one that some places call it, like, not the Music Express, but I'm trying to remember the name of it.
The Alpine.
No.
Or, the
like the Scrambler.
The Matterhorn. Oh, the Scrambler. Okay.
Yeah, there were issues, and somebody years ago died because they were on the Scrambler and like got out of the restraints and ended up getting thrown from the ride.
Oh God.
But that was the same shit that used to happen. Like Lightning Loops is the same thing. Somebody squirmed out of the thing, and that's what used to happen in a lot of rides.
Did you ever ride the rotor?
Oh yeah.
Where you lean up against the wall and it just whoop 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 whoop.
Oh yeah, I've been on a bunch of those in a few different places. I hadn't been on one in a long time, and then I got on one with my kids because they were like bugging me, and they're like, come on. They were really small, and they're like, come on, you got to come on with us. And I'm like, all right, fine.
And then you were ready to puke when you got out of there, weren't you?
Nah, see, I don't get like that with rides.
I don't either, but
I just didn't like the fucking thing.
My
fat ass fucking smashed against the wall.
My thing was always like watching the absolutely wild people who would stand on it.
Oh yeah.
Like they'd be just literally like Superman with their feet only planted on the fucking wall. Yep. And I'm like, yo, dude, if they stop this sucker, you're going face first.
But that's one of those things, like, I'm not one of those no hands on the coaster thing, like put my hands up. No. I mean, I'm down with roller coasters, but I'm not putting my fucking hands up. Fuck that.
See, I'm a hands up roller coaster guy. I'm like, hell yeah, get your hands up.
No.
But
no, I gotta hold on because my fat ass will probably break the fucking restraints. So I gotta hold on to something. Not that I really have a chance anyway, but I got a better chance than my fucking stupid hands up.
So me and Ren rode King Dakar together, and I'm like, yo, Ren, hands up version the whole way. Only if you put your hands down, you owe me. And we rode that thing straight out the gate, hands up the whole way up and the whole way down.
Wow. Yeah, see, it's been so long. I haven't been there since they built King Dakar.
Oh wow.
I haven't been there since before my kids were born. So you're talking about like
15 years.
16 years almost. Yeah. Like, because she wasn't even pregnant, so you got to go back at least like 16 years.
That's crazy.
Because if she was pregnant, she wouldn't have been able to go on anything.
Right.
I mean, no. Let me stop. I was gonna make a comment.
You don't need to.
I was gonna make a comment, but we'll no.
Make no comments. Leave it alone.
Talking about restraints and accidents.
Hey, just leave it where it is. So I started going to Great Adventure with my family because my uncle was playing Kool and the Gang, and every summer they played there at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season. So we got free passes, so we would just go in the back.
Yeah.
So where the music amphitheater was, there was like a whole path back there. You could just drive straight back. It was in between the regular entrance and the entrance for the safari back in the day. So you just kind of drove down this back road, and we would just park back there, walk into the backstage area, hang out for a little bit, and then just let ourselves loose in the park and party until it was like 8 o'clock when the concert was going to happen. Go watch the concert. By 10:30 when the park's closing, rally up and go home.
I never saw a concert there.
You didn't miss anything, but it was free. It was free events and free time in the fucking thing.
Do you know they don't allow heavy bands there anymore because of an incident that happened?
Really? Which incident?
It was that stupid motherfucker. I don't even remember what band he was singing for at that time. Ronnie Radke?
Don't know anything about him.
Okay. He's got a reputation for being a real jerk off.
Why am I not surprised with that kind of name?
You know, like he's been arrested multiple times for like smacking up his girl and a bunch of other shit.
Never heard of this guy, but he
Well,
was in a band called Escape the Fate.
2012. Now, if I remember right, I could be wrong, but there was, I believe, at least one hardcore band on the show, which is how I originally heard about it. And I feel like it might have been Knuckle Up, but I could be wrong. Because I think my friend Chris Foch had posted about it. I could be totally wrong. Either way, here's the incident as per Wikipedia. September 29, 2012, Radke was performing as part of Falling in Reverse for Fest Evil, a punk rock festival for Six Flags Great Adventures Fright Fest event, when he threw 3 microphone stands into the audience at the close of a performance, injuring a 16-year-old girl who was taken to the hospital and a 24-year-old man who was treated at the scene. Radke was charged with simple assault and aggravated assault and released on $25,000 bail. He publicly apologized for his actions, saying that his actions were not in anger and that he hadn't intended to hurt anyone. Six Flags subsequently decided to ban hard rock and heavy metal bands from performing at the park in the future. And by the way, it was all over the local news.
Totally missed it.
Yeah, I feel like I initially heard about it from somebody else that played on that bill. Mm-hmm. There was a whole thing with Lorenzo calling the dude out.
Oh, really?
And partly about this, partly about other stuff, and then they squashed it, which was kind of disappointing because I wanted to see Lorenzo smack him out. Can't always get what you want. But yeah, because of that, Great Adventure doesn't book metal bands. Thanks, buddy. Jerk off.
But yeah, go back on that one day.
Yeah, probably. If they haven't already, who knows? I mean, not like they can do anything for the past year, but that's another story. Coming to Great Adventure, Billy Club Sandwich and Bottom Feeder and Selfish Lover and Swashbuckle. And Iron Price.
Oh, that would be a fun time. Honestly.
Not for catering, it wouldn't be.
Well, they'd run out of fucking food.
You better work up double time.
I would eat all the. I would just be like, yo, keep the funnel cake coming. Fresh ones. Not the pre-cooked ones. Go make me a fresh one. Bring that shit back. That was actually always my favorite part about going to Great Adventure in general, was that I knew I could get a fresh made banging ass funnel cake. And I would always eat it right at the end of the night before I left. I would just stop at the shop right outside the exit gate and just eat it on the way to the car, because I'm not going to eat it during the day and make myself like miserable going on the fucking rides full of grease, but I'll eat it on the way home and like half pass out in the car.
I'm trying to think of where I had a funnel cake recently. Oh, I remember. There's a park in Connecticut called Lake Compounce that I would take the kids to for a couple of summers, and obviously not last summer. But yeah, we went there a bunch of times and had funnel cake.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
they hooked it up like shit with like funnel cake with like ice cream and chocolate syrup and all this other shit
now.
Just you know, the fat guy fantasy.
So the best place to get that, at least in my personal opinion, fat guy opinion, is the boardwalk at Point Pleasant. The ones in Seaside are okay, but the ones in Point Pleasant are the bomb. And you could get like the cinnamon sugar, you could get the chocolate, you get the ice cream, you could get whatever you want on it. So, but I prefer just regular old powdered sugar, old school, the way it's supposed to be. I don't need all that fun. You eat ice cream, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
I like ice cream.
If you don't, you're a communist.
Now, what is your take on ice cream? Are you I want a lot of like shit in my ice cream, or are you like a purist like me, where I'm like, yo, no, just give me some banging vanilla or some banging chocolate ice cream?
Well, let me put a disclaimer, by the way. If you don't like ice cream, you're a communist, unless you're one of these lactose intolerant people, then I understand.
I'm lactose intolerant, but I still love ice cream. And I'll suffer the fucking
You'll
fate.
Take the beating?
Yeah.
Take one for the team?
Yeah, I mean, I have pulled back on eating it more often now, but I still will do it.
Okay.
Because, like, if I want ice cream, I'm just gonna eat the fucking ice cream, and I know what's gonna happen to me. And I'm a grown ass man. I can deal with like having the shits. I can. It's okay. It's not comfortable. It's not fun, but I'll deal with it.
Well, to answer your question, first off, I hate any kind of nuts.
Same.
So anything with nuts, no peanuts, no fucking almonds, no
pistachios, none of that bullshit. None.
No,
Out.
No. I'm down with the classics, like the classic chocolate, but my drug of choice is cookie dough.
I used to love cookie dough ice cream, but I'll eat it now. Don't take this the wrong way. I'll eat the shit out of some cookie dough ice cream. But if it's just me and I'm like, you're taking me to the ice cream spot, I'm getting some ice cream, I'm most likely just gonna get vanilla. Because it's always I'm never upset by it.
Yeah. No,
I don't have to fight with it. It's a classic for a fucking reason.
I'll go with cookie dough or cookies and cream or both, or like the Ben and Jerry's half baked with like the brownie batter and the fucking cookie dough. Like
it's perfectly fine.
I'll just eat one of those straight to the head, and then sit there like,
I am
and not care.
I'm a weirdo though, and you're gonna be irritated as shit when I tell you this, but I can't do cookies and cream because I can't stand Oreo cookies. I never could. I don't like them. I'm okay with the
fucking planet are you from?
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with the golden Oreos. I like those, but the chocolate Oreos, it just tastes like fucking dirt to me. I don't like it. So I don't like Cookie Puss. I don't like and the thing.
Did you have a bad experience as a child?
I don't think so. I hate ice cream. What they call cake. That shit is not cake. Stop calling it cake. It's just ice cream in a fucking ring mold.
So you don't hate the fucking You hate the crunchies and shit?
Yeah, I hate the crunchies.
Oh,
I hate it.
Dude.
It's the worst part of that whole thing.
Where did you go wrong?
I don't know. I don't like crunchy shit. Like
I know people like they sell things of just the crunchies, and I know people that are just like.
I would literally just throw that in the trash.
Oh,
that's like pickles. That's like peanut butter, like all that shit, just right in the trash. Out of here.
Peanut butter too?
Yeah, I don't fuck with peanut butter, dude.
Okay. I don't fuck with straight up peanut butter, but like I'll fuck with Reese's once in a while.
Never. Absolutely
once in a while.
Nah,
I gotta be in the right spot for it. And I hate anything with peanuts or any of that shit, but once in a while, like I'll fuck with a Reese's.
Yeah,
if I'm in the right mood.
So my disdain for peanuts and peanut butter, etc., stems from one specific thing. It was a fateful Halloween night, or day after Halloween, or whatever, and I had gone out and you
gotta put some creepy music behind this.
And I think I took like 12 or 13 Reese's peanut butter cups to the head as like I don't know. I guess if I was living in that house, I was 4, 5, but it was one of those situations where I snuck in the kitchen and got my candy basket, and Mom was not like paying attention because she was minding her own damn business like she was supposed to, and then I'm just miserable, and I cannot look at peanut butter at all without feeling like I can't even smell it without it taking me back to that specific moment. And maybe it was only 6 of them. And maybe I'm over exaggerating, but it was too many for my dumb young ass to have.
You overdosed on it.
And now
you overdosed on it, and that ruined it for you.
Ruined it. And now I can't even smell peanut butter without it just eliciting the response of wanting to throw myself in the river.
Yeah, I never had an experience like that, even with other things that I definitely overdosed on, like Pixie Sticks.
Well, some people get that way with like alcohol. They're like, I can't even smell. Like some people are like, I can't smell Jaeger because it's just gonna fuck me up. And I'm like,
I laugh at those people
because you're like bringing the Jaeger.
Yeah, because we used to go play shows and like the promoter would hand me my personal bottle of Jaeger.
Like,
it wasn't even specified, but like sometimes that's just how it be.
Right.
But going back to the theme park thing for a second, because this Great Adventure History site I've looked at many times.
Same.
I was a kid when that haunted house thing caught fire.
Well, I posted about it. I saw, like, did you see my post? Maybe you didn't, because I might have posted it directly to my cousin instead of on my page. But some guy on YouTube did like a horrific history spotlight on
I've seen it. I've seen it before.
So my cousin was there at the fucking.
But that's what I was talking about with the whatchamacallit, the falling into YouTube holes. Because
oh yeah, I fall into those holes all the time, bro.
Because dude, I look at a lot of theme park shit.
Same.
Especially like abandoned theme park, like shit that.
Oh yeah, love it.
Defunct theme parks or like defunct rides or whatever.
All right, so
all that shit.
One of the sets of people that I follow is like this guy Dan Bell, and he's from Baltimore, and he just goes into like abandoned houses and
you
buildings.
Sent me some of his stuff before.
But he hangs out with this guy Jake, and Jake is he does Bright Sun Films, and he's doing a documentary that should be out this summer, I think, on the one in New Orleans.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's like a full-length movie on it with new and old footage from inside the park. And I'm excited beyond belief for this to come out.
I have a friend that actually went in there and took some pictures and shit, which was pretty wild.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I get seriously lost in those YouTube holes with all that kind of stuff. Like I watched something recently about a theme park that I think was in Rhode Island that eventually went out of business and now is just a park. But I bugged out because I just happened to watch it, and then it turns out that they had one of the big arches that used to be in the Queen's World's Fair. They moved it up there.
Okay.
And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even know. And that was cool. Yeah, I've seen other videos about this New Orleans thing.
It's wild that they have just let that thing just sit there and rot.
It's completely crazy.
Like, not even to the point that... I guess my point is that the city has allowed Six Flags to literally just back out of the site, take almost no responsibility for any cleanup, and this thing is literally just rotting away.
It's sitting there rotting away.
With full-on rides not ready to roll, because it clearly could not turn these things on right now.
Oh, no.
But someone could get in there, climb up there, and die. And all they have is like 2 rent-a-cops keeping an eye on it.
And it was only open for 5 years.
Yeah, well, it was open for a number of years before that.
Yeah, it was open before that, but then...
As Jazzland.
Right. But it opened... Well, no. It was...
Jazzland was only open for...
It was Jazzland from 2000 to 2003.
Okay.
And then from 2003 to 2005 was Six Flags New Orleans. So it was only open for 5 years. And so all those rides... Listen, by theme park standards, 5 years is nothing.
Right. But after the stormwater...
But after that, everything. Shit is all... Like, none of that stuff will ever be operational again. But it's still sitting there empty. Well, some of the stuff was removed.
The stuff that they could actually sell.
I'm looking now. Batman the Ride was removed and relocated because it was considered to be the only salvageable ride.
Well, because
they moved it to San Antonio.
Super high up.
Yeah, they moved it to San Antonio. And then they removed certain other stuff from the park that they thought was still salvageable.
They just left the rest.
And then they removed 2 other rides. They removed 2 other rides in 2008, and those also went. Remember, I mentioned the Great Escape where the bobsled ride went. Bayou Blaster and Sonic Slam were removed and taken to Great Escape, and then another ride was moved to Magic Mountain in California.
That's my biggest regret, is that I haven't actually been to Magic Mountain. I've driven past it. I've driven in the parking lot.
And by the way, as late as the fall of 2009, the Six Flags website says the company was still in the process of settling claims with its insurers over Hurricane Katrina, adding that the park would remain closed. Statement ended with, "We know that it is still a difficult time for residents of New Orleans, and we remain committed to working with the city in support of the recovery efforts. But we're just going to let that shit rot and look like shit for your city. But no, we'll help you." But then they've gone through a bunch of different things to possibly change it into something else, but nothing has ever come through. They were going to turn it into an outlet mall at one point.
I mean,
they filmed movies there. That's about it.
What else? What was filmed there? They did Zombieland there, right?
Let me work my way through here. Let's see. I don't see Zombieland. In 2011, Killer Joe was filmed featuring the wooden coaster. Stolen was also filmed at the park that year. Stolen used the Main Street Square section to double as the quarter. Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters filmed there. But look at this. Before shooting at the park for 5 weeks, the production crew took 2 weeks to restore the derelict park into the needed condition by installing lighting and covering up graffiti. Let's fix up this thing so that nobody will use it. Summer of 2013, portions of the park were used to film Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's interesting. The park was also used to film portions of Jurassic World. Jurassic World used the parking lot as the location for the Jurassic World Park. Deepwater Horizon built its oil rig set in the parking lot. That's bizarre.
That is bizarre.
Deepwater Horizon was the last film to use the parking lot. No movie studio has signed up to use the park for filming since August of 2015. In 2019, a rapper used parts of the park to film a music video, and they mentioned the documentary that you mentioned. 2019, the park was the subject of the Bright Sun Films documentary titled Closed for Storm. The documentary featured visuals of the park in its current state, as well as interviews with past employees, fans, as well as developers interested in rebuilding the property. It will receive a wide release in July 2021.
Yeah, so I was saying June, but I had heard June, but I guess it's July.
Yeah, I mean, movie theaters, everything gets bumped.
I'm excited for that movie, though.
Yeah, that looks cool.
That's what I find that I'm most excited about watching these days is documentaries. Like, I like to just learn shit about stuff, and I enjoy it way more than most things I find myself watching.
It depends, because for me, obviously the subject matter is the important part. There's not a lot of documentaries that grab me, like just with the subject matter. I don't recall, other than like the short form stuff you see on YouTube, I don't recall seeing one about an amusement park, because that would certainly grab me.
No, that would definitely grab me, which is why I'm really looking forward to this one.
I think, like I said, with Freedomland, there were some videos on YouTube about it, like maybe 20 minutes, half hour long, but I would love to see a longer documentary about that. And then I know I have on DVD a documentary about the Queens World's Fair. And then we talked about Sound City.
Dude, that was a great.
That was a great one. And then there was, what was the other one?
The other doc that I watched recently that I loved was the Blockbuster one, the last Blockbuster on Earth.
I never watched that, but there was another. Was it Hired Gun?
Hired Gun. I'm not sure about. Oh yes. Yeah, I know that one. I know
about like studio musicians.
Yep.
There was that one, and then
the other one, starts with an M or something like that. I watched both of them. Both of them were awesome.
I don't remember the one with the M, but there was the other one I was thinking of was the one about the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, that's what it was. The Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, that one
upside down. W was upside down in my head.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the Wrecking Crew, it was a group of session musicians that worked in the 60s and 70s, and they played on literally thousands of records.
Probably all the records that your parents and maybe even you love from back in the late 50s through the early 70s. If it was awesome, they probably played on it.
And of all of them, there was only one that really broke out into their own career that
Carol
I can
Kay,
think of.
Right?
Well, no, Carol Kay always played on other people's stuff. She never really did her own stuff. Glenn Campbell
Glenn Campbell.
Who I was thinking of.
Okay. I was just thinking more about the fact that even after the Wrecking Crew was done, Carol Kay was still getting business.
No, a lot of them still did work post Wrecking Crew, but as far as getting their own name out there and doing their own
thing, yeah,
work as an artist, Glenn Campbell, I think, was the only one that really broke out. Because Carol Kay played on a ton of stuff, and a lot of the other guys did too. Tommy Tedesco.
Honestly, Carol Kay had some of the best bass lines on the planet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just wrecked it. All
I
the
remember
time. Just amazing.
There's a video on YouTube of her sitting trying to show Gene Simmons how to play something. And I mean, you know, everybody has their own opinion of Kiss, but those guys are competent musicians. They're not total hacks. Like, everybody sees the gimmick, but like, those guys can play.
Right.
Like he's not Geddy Lee, but those guys are solid.
He's a solid bass player.
Yeah. But watching him with Carol Kay, and like, he just couldn't get the line that she was trying to play, get him to play. It was just so crazy to see, because it's just those little things. You work those little things in there, and it's just amazing to watch.
Brings that magic out.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of those guys played with a lot of different people, because who else? I mean, they played as the Wrecking Crew. They played on so many records. Like, I'm looking at this list, and it's like from the 60s, the Ronettes, Jan and Dean, Beach Boys, Righteous Brothers, the Byrds, the Mamas and the Papas, Sonny and Cher, working their way all the way into the 70s with the Carpenters and Simon and Garfunkel, Cher, Johnny Rivers, all kinds of stuff. Those guys played on so much stuff, and that documentary is really cool to watch. And it's crazy just because we've talked before about how the music business has changed so much just in our lifetime. And like, when I used to work in the music business in the 90s and 2000s, and it changed so much even from then. But like, the music business changed so much even in the time before that, because back then you had like the Brill Building, which was a building where people just got together and were hired to write songs. They wrote songs. The Brill Building was in New York City. They wrote songs. They wrote jingles for commercials. They wrote all kinds of shit, and that was their job.
That's just how it was back then.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist now.
It was a building on 49th Street and Broadway, and yeah, famous for housing music industry offices and studios where some of the most popular American songs were written. Considered to have been the center of the American music industry that dominated the pop charts in the early 60s. So that was how it used to be. And I think you and I were even talking recently about studios and stuff, and how some of these big recording studios that were like church for some people are now like housing or whatever.
Yep. Just
like,
gone.
they closed them up, turned them into apartments.
Well, was it last week that we were talking about the studio that Kool and the Gang recorded at?
Yes.
And I think the building is still there because it just closed last year, but I mean, it's gone. You can't record there anymore. It's done.
Yeah, well, that's the way a lot of places are. What was the place that I was trying to think of? Was it the Sound Factory? The Sound Factory was a club, wasn't it?
I'm unaware. Unfortunately, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. I got to think about it. But there's a place that there's a couple places because Electric Lady I don't think exists anymore.
I'm not sure if that one does or not, but I mean, did you ever see uh uh Nora Infinite something or another? Um, Kat Dennings was in it in the Infinite playlist or something.
No, I never saw it.
But they go to Electric Lady Studios in that.
Okay.
Nick
Oh,
and
you know
Nora's
what?
Infinite playlist. That's what it was called.
Yeah, I never saw it. What I was thinking of was the Hit Factory, but they actually still do exist.
Okay.
Um, they sold. They've moved a couple of different locations over the years, but they still do exist now. Um, but yeah, Electric Lady. I don't know. I don't even know what it is now.
Yeah, it looks like it still is open.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was gone.
No, it's still there, but I don't think they do as much now. I think they got renovated.
Yeah, I'm seeing that they financial hardship, renovated and expanded. Okay, so they are still
Right, yeah.
in existence. Good. Well,
But
then I stand corrected on that one. But there are a lot of other recording studios all over the place that are no longer in business. Period.
I do want to go backwards in our conversation for a minute, though.
Go for it.
So we were talking about going to amusement parks or whatever, and I said that I regret the fact that I actually never went to Magic Mountain. And the reason why I regret it is that Wally World, the interior piece of Wally World, was done at Magic Mountain. It's not
Right.
It's not what you see when you're driving up, but it is what you see when you're inside the park.
Right.
And I went to the park and it was closed the day that I went there. And it was apropos based on fucking Wally World being closed. But they were having a motocross in the parking lot.
Oh shit.
And like I drove in and it was me and an ex-girlfriend and we were just like hanging out in California or whatever, and we're driving around and we drive in and can't go to the fucking park. And I'm just pissed that I have, for someone that has willfully driven to Cedar Point twice, which is a 10-hour trip each way, I need to go to a few of these other parks that I think are must-goes.
Yeah.
And Magic Mountain is one of them. So that's on my bucket list of things I want to do, is hit Magic Mountain. But my first bucket list is to cut another like 50 pounds off this body so I can get on a fucking ride.
Get onto everything. I know that feeling. Well, looking at it, of course, I remember they filmed a lot of stuff at Magic Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, think of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Didn't see that.
You got to see it just to laugh about it. Because
okay.
When one shot is obviously Ace Frehley's stunt guy, because you can tell that he's black.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. Stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, I'll have to dig up the photo and show you later, or a clip or something. But they've filmed tons of TV shows and movies at Magic Mountain. NCIS, A-Team, Knight Rider.
I mean, I love amusement parks and roller coasters, etc.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
If I had the money to just do whatever I wanted to do, I think that I would just spend an entire summer just amusement park hopping.
Oh, sure.
If I didn't have to worry about work or anything else. Like, what are you doing today? I'm going to go ride some fucking roller coasters today. Why? Because I have the money to do it.
Yeah.
And I get the speed pass just because I'm that guy. I'm that guy if I got money. I don't have money, so right now I'm not that guy. But if I had money, I'd be that guy.
I mean, that's one of the fucked up things, because people want to lose weight because I want to be healthy. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Nah, I
like
want to ride fucking roller coasters, bro.
My goal for losing weight, just like you, is like I just want to fit on some shit.
Right.
Like I want to hang upside down.
So Great Adventure. Back in the day, as a kid, I could get on the what was it called, Rolling Thunder.
Yep.
I could get on Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
And then one year I went there, and I'm like, I can't sit on this fucking ride because I was too tall and too wide.
Well, I'll say this: those old wooden roller coasters,
this tiny
bitch. Yeah. Because Playland has the Dragon Coaster.
Can't get in it.
Which I could fit on it a long time ago, but I couldn't even look at it now. But the Cyclone in Brooklyn, I mean, that's some old shit. Like, I don't understand. Like, I could barely fit on it back in the day.
I think my legs,
that shit is mad tight.
From my ass to my knees, basically if I'm sitting down, so from my back to my knees, is way longer than they ever expect any human to be.
Oh, yeah.
So I go to sit down and stuff, and I'm like, yo, I can't even sit down in this.
No.
There have been a few rides where I walked in, and I stood there, and I went to sit down, and my knees were already in the bar. So I'm like, even if I turn sideways, I'm not getting in this by any stretch of the imagination.
You crunch yourself in there, and to the point where you're not even going to be comfortable on a damn thing.
I'm going to tell you, the last time I went to Great Adventure and tried to ride El Toro, I got on El Toro, and I sat down, and I pulled the bar down. And this is a ride that I am a little too big for, even when I'm at my skinniest.
Right.
And I'm talking, I was 200 pounds, and I was like struggling to get this thing closed because of the physical shape of my body. So I'm like 265, and I get on this ride, and this girl has the fucking nerve to come over and try and step on the bar to get it to close. And they're like trying to shove the fucking thing closed, and they're like, nope, open the thing, and made me get out of the ride. And I was like, how fucking embarrassing is this?
Yeah, well, what they do now for a lot of them is that they have a test seat outside.
Yeah. Well, they had that out there, but I didn't get in it because the last time I had ridden it, I rode it no problem. But I didn't realize that I was like way fatter than the last time I had ridden it.
Yeah, I've had that happen once or twice.
Well, that's the reason why I went to Cedar Point twice. I went to Cedar Point once with my ex Jamie. Hello, Jamie, if you're listening. And we drove out there, got there, stayed the night, and then the next day we hit the park. And we went straight for Millennium Force, which is the big baby.
The big one.
And I'm like, yo, so stoked. This is the ride I've been dying to go on for my entire life. It's like 380 feet up, no loops, just super fast the whole time. Wait an hour and 45 minutes to get on the ride. Sit down, too fat to ride the fucking ride. And I'm like, yo, and they're like, we don't do seatbelt extenders. It's too dangerous. You have to get off the ride. And everyone in the fucking ride queue is laughing at me. And I was super embarrassed. So by the time I got home, I had already joined the gym by the next day. Like, I drove home the next day, and the morning after, I was at the gym, and I lost like, I don't know, 95 pounds. And I went from like almost 300 pounds down to basically 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then 2 summers later, I was still skinny, and I drove my ass right the fuck back out there. And I rode every ride in the park 5 times.
I'll show you, motherfucker.
And I was super excited. But I did actually write a scathing email to Cedar Point.
Yeah.
Or Cedar Parks. Because nowhere on their website did it define what size you needed to be to ride any of their rides. If you go on their website, it's on there now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why, like I said, a lot of them have put that test seat out there. I saw some guy recently ranting about it on YouTube. So I guess that's kind of become his thing. Okay. I don't remember which account it was, but I mean, truth is, we're in America, so they're going to have to deal with that a lot.
You got to plan for the fat people because we exist.
I will say that I've seen some rides where they've started to develop newer restraint systems that work better for different sizes.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen some of these rides that they have, instead of a thing on your waist, they have a thing that comes up on your back and behind your legs. I know the Thunderbolt in Brooklyn, in Coney Island, has that kind of restraint system. I believe the Tron coaster exists in Disney in either Tokyo or China or both, and they're building it now in Florida.
Okay.
And I believe that Tron coaster has the same restraint system. I could be wrong. So that's one of the things that they're trying to do to accommodate more people, because that problem that you're talking about, that we're talking about, is common. I mean,
well, the other problem I have is that they make some of those seats like really bucketed. Yeah. And my hip structure, even if I'm skinny, does not fit in any of this shit.
Yeah, like if you got two seats and they have a little thing in between the two seats, like get that shit out of there.
I can't get, even at my skinniest, I can't get in.
I think that was one of the things the YouTube guy was complaining about, because they had changed, I guess they had changed the seats, and his whole thing was like, why did they make it like this? There was no reason for them to make it like this. And it was that where they had the two seats with the thing in between. And he's like, there's no reason for them to do this.
I got to spill, bro. I need to spill over.
Yeah, like.
Well, it's like when I get in an airplane. If I get in an airplane, I'm in all three seats. It doesn't matter. Like if I get the center seat, I'm in your seat and I'm in your seat to my right too, because they don't make these seats big enough. They just don't.
Dude.
And I'm not even talking about my legs or my ass. I'm talking my shoulders. Yeah. My shoulders are in your fucking seat, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Listen, I could tell you stories, because remember, I travel sometimes on a plane
with a
bunch of dudes who are some husky ass motherfuckers like me. So, let me tell you one of the best things ever. Oh man, I forgot what airline it was. I wish I remembered, because it was so good. This one dude, as we were checking in for one airline one time, I forget which trip it even was. Because there's us plus John Franco, who's our label guy who handles all of our merch and sometimes travels with us, who is another big dude.
Right.
And this dude set it up and was like he saw our group, and he picked the two biggest dudes, which was me and Franco, because Franco's a broad dude, but Franco was also like 6'3", 6'4".
Right.
So like that just makes it even worse. So the dude takes the two of us and he's like, listen, you guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it, I'm going to give you this thing. So it's like you have a medical condition. So it basically reserves the seat in between us. Because what's a seat where they don't give you assigned seats and they just call you in groups? What airline is it?
Spirit.
Spirit. So that's what it was. It was Spirit. So he's like, listen, you guys sit next to each other. I'm going to hook it up so that you're in the first boarding group. And he says, just put this paper on the seat in between you. That means one of you has a medical condition, so the seat is reserved. Nobody could sit there.
You got the hookup.
And we were like, you are the fucking man.
Yeah, and then the two of you sat down, and that middle seat basically didn't exist.
And we were just like, oh, yeah, let the nuts hang. And that was a damn good fucking flight.
Okay,
I think that was Florida. because of course that wouldn't happen on an international flight.
No, absolutely not.
But I think it was Florida. Yeah, because Spirit doesn't go international, so it had to be when we went to FYA Fest probably.
All right,
that dude hooked us up. Lovely.
I'm about to get myself canceled, and I'm okay with it because this is a hill I'll die on for a moment here. One of my biggest pet peeves is when you're in a subway train or anywhere really, and people complain about manspreading. And I'm like,
that's such a bunch of shit.
Look, you don't I don't tell you how to sit. Don't tell me how to sit. You don't know what's comfortable for me and what's not. Now, I understand if you're physically taking up, 2 full seats, maybe you don't do that. But when I sit down, I'm not crossing my legs, and the amount of energy it takes to force my legs closed is way overboard for what would be physically fucking comfortable. Some people are perfectly comfortable crossing their legs. Any type of people that is. I'm not going to say anything about who it is that will cross their legs, because there are some male, female, and trans people who are perfectly happy crossing their legs.
They're the dudes with little tiny...
I am uncomfortable crossing my legs for a number of reasons. But, number one, just the sheer size of my fucking legs make it virtually impossible to just sit like this. Like, they don't go that fucking direction. I gotta point my toes in and literally hold my legs closed to sit with my legs closed. If I sit down, they automatically go into a V position.
That shit hurts, man.
It's not comfortable at all.
No, not crunching my balls for you.
And I'm not saying, hey, dudes should sit with their legs like splayed out like you're at the fucking Y. But don't tell me that me sitting with my fucking legs a normal amount wide, pretty much the width of my shoulders, is wrong, because that's what's right for me.
Listen, you got a much bigger problem with dudes just straight sleeping on the train, taking up like 3 seats. So leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're done. TheUpgradePodcast.net is the website. Links to the streaming services, social media, all that jazz. I am Gary Muttley. He is Len Carmichael. We are The Upgrade, and we'll see you again soon. Peace.
Peace.